Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here, guys. In today's video I want to talk about one of the more premium fragrances from the house of Ahmed al Maghribi. If you have been watching my videos for a while, you know I talk a lot about this house. I think it's a beautiful house with amazing fragrances, and the ratio between price and quality I completely forgot how to say this in English, but yeah, basically the ratio between the price and the quality is amazing. You have there your French-like fragrances, your freshies, your fruity forward fragrances, you have your inspirations, you also have your heavy Middle Eastern leaning fragrances, you have fragrances within different price ranges. But like I said, today I want to talk about a fragrance called Sheikh, and I want to let you know how I feel about this fragrance, how it smells like, if I find it similar to any other fragrances, and wink wink, I do. So yeah. If you have tried this fragrance, I would love to hear your feedback on the fragrance, and without further ado, let's just begin. They know how to do their oud fragrances very well. They have oud accords that smell so luxurious, so decadent, and also so realistic, even though the oud might be an oud accord, you know, not like real oud. Yeah, it's so oily, and I just did like one spray. I didn't even bring this one to my nose, and I can already smell it everywhere around me. Oh my god. And I have a little bit here on my finger as well. You guys, this, wow, like the first time I tried it, I legit had the same reaction. I was like, oh my god, wow, what an opening. This is all about oud, but I feel like the oud used here, basically, I will tell you the fragrances that it slightly reminds me of and what from those fragrances, and then I will let you know how they play, how all these different facets play here in the fragrance. So this one reminds me, the oud here reminds me of Mukhallat from Ajmal. If you know that style of Hindi oud, so it's slightly pungent, slightly acidic, slightly fermented, slightly, yeah, like acidic, fermented, slightly sour as well, you know. So you have the oud from Mukhallat from Ajmal, with the sugariness from Arabians Tonka, but it's just the sugary vibe here. But I feel like here the sugary feel, it's a bit more in the background, especially in the opening. Only as it will start to develop on your skin or on paper, it will start to shine a little bit more. So I have these two. Then imagine that like very cold, aromatic, grounding and slightly earthy patchouli that you have in Badi al Oud, in Oud for Greatness, oud for Greatness I think it's called, from Initio, in Supremacy in Oud from Afnan, that type of patchouli, you know. So it's not overly green, but it's very cold, very aromatic, very grounding, very earthy, you know? And you have that saffron oak moss feel, that resemblance Baccarat Rouge fragrance. Baccarat Rouge fragrances, oh my god, fragrances inspired by Baccarat Rouge or Baccarat Rouge, you know what I mean? So this is how it smells like. So in the opening, the note that I get the most is the oud. The oud is definitely the star of the show, especially in the opening. And I have to say, in the opening, this fragrance is the heaviest, is the richest, most complex, most multifaceted. It's like an explosion of different notes and accords put together, and I'm telling you, I feel like for lots of people this fragrance will be too much. If you are not familiar with how Middle Eastern brands do their ouds, and I'm not talking about like mainstream oud fragrances, no, I'm talking about like the heavy duty oud fragrances, you know, those oud fragrances that if you're not used to them, it's almost like they hit your nose, you know, and they numb your senses. Yes, that's the kind of oud I'm talking about here. Yeah, the thing is, this kind of oud, I feel like would shine so beautiful on a man. Like, oh my god, this fragrance on a man, yeah, it will smell amazing. This fragrance on me, I would feel the need to layer it, but I will give you some layering suggestions at the end of the video. So back to how it smells. So in the opening, you guys, like I've said, is the heaviest, is the strongest. It definitely packs a punch. This is definitely a beast mode type of fragrance. So those who are scared about the performance or anything, this has no performance issues, okay? Now, like I've said, you have the oud. That's the star of the show. The oud here, as I have mentioned prior, it smells pungent. It does have a funk, but imagine the funk is not like a barnyard type of funk. To me, the funk here smells like something that's fermented and slightly salty. I don't know why. I know this will not sound very good, but believe me, here it works. It just adds to the overall complexity of the fragrance. To me, from time to time, it does remind me a little bit of the smell of, I think it's called pickled cabbage in English, like cabbage that's been made to be pickled cabbage, but in salt. You know how it smells? Like if you have ever I cannot believe I'm saying this on YouTube, but if you have ever tasted or eaten something like this, or if you have ever smelled, you know, it smells slightly fermented, but slightly salty as well with a funk. Yeah, this is somewhat of a similar funk here, but of course more acidic, more pungent, you know, more oud-like, not pickled cabbage. But if you have never tried, let's just say, fragrances with a very pronounced or like a very realistic take on Hindi oud, because to me this is something like Hindi oud smells like, you know. Yeah, just to give you there like a resemblance, like a slight resemblance, you know. You have the oud, right behind you have the sugariness. The sugary feel, I feel like it's behind the oud in a sense, and it smells like melted cold sugar. You do have this like slight translucency to the fragrance, but just a little bit, you know. And I feel like the sugary feel here is not too sugary. This is not a sweet fragrance with oud. This is a heavy, decadent, bold, luxurious and opulent fragrance with a little bit of sweetness, you know, but don't buy this one for the sugar here. So as this fragrance starts to develop on your skin, you still have the oud here. I feel like the oud doesn't fade away completely until the last bits of the dry down. You will still get this acidic, pungent, sour nuances from here and there, but it slowly starts to move more in the background. You still have the sugariness, but I feel like the sugary feel now starts to come a little bit forward. It definitely gets a little bit sweet, but still very cold. This fragrance is deep, it's dark, it's cold, it's robust, it feels very thick, you know, very multifaceted, but it's a very cold fragrance. It almost feels, again, it almost feels like it exudes this chilly feel from it in a sense, you know, like it's a fragrance of the night, I don't know, something like this, you know what I mean? So you have these nuances, and there's something very interesting that I start to detect. You start to detect this accord that to my nose smells like not smoky woods, because I don't get ashy smoky feel from it, but it starts to smell like fume, you know, like yeah, like legit you know how Baccarat smells like if you have ever tried it. Yeah, it smells like something like this, you know, like, so you start to get this slight fume woody feel as well in the background. I'm telling you, this is such a complex fragrance. It is such a bold fragrance, such a beautiful fragrance. I'm telling you, if you were looking to buy something that's more of like, it's an experience to test this fragrance in a sense, you know, it's not the kind of fragrance that you smell everywhere. It's definitely not the kind of fragrance that everyone can pull off. I'm telling you, this is a bold statement fragrance. This is opulent. This smells, this exudes this royal feel about it in a sense, you know. Oh, I love how this one smells. Even the oud here, I'm telling you guys, the oud, I feel like if the oud here wouldn't have been paired with notes that make it so grounding and deep and dark, perhaps it would have been a bit too much for my taste. Because, for instance, look, I also have in my collection Mukhallat from Ajmal. Love how it smells. Never worried. To me, it's a bit too woody, you know, it's a bit too woody without any sweetness, without any spiciness, or, you know, it's a bit too much in the Hindi oud category. I feel like I prefer to smell those kind of fragrances on men, not necessarily on me, you know. Whereas with this fragrance, even though this one on its own, how it smells now, I would love to smell it on a man, but I do think that if I would layer this one, I could wear it myself as well. Now, let me give you some layering suggestions, and let me give you a few tips and tricks on how I would wear this fragrance. Now, clearly, you guys, this is a very decadent, bold, heavy fragrance on its own. Look, depending on where you live in the world, yeah, I feel like people will react very different to this fragrance. Of course, depending on what they are used to, you know, and so on and so forth. Now, to me, I genuinely feel like this fragrance could be an all-year-round fragrance, even though it's very heavy, but it doesn't feel... Please take everything I say here with a grain of salt, because I prefer heavier fragrances, and I don't mind smelling heavier fragrances in warm weather as well. But this one on its own, I feel like because of how cold the overall scent it is, I wouldn't mind smelling it on someone in the summer, but I wouldn't recommend you to wear this one during summer days. I feel like because how deep and dark it is, it has something it has something that makes me think of a fragrance for the night, you know, like when you're going out at nighttime, or perhaps a wedding, or somewhat of an occasion when you want to feel very confident, you want to exude this feeling of power, you know, of yeah, it definitely feels very powerful, this fragrance. Like if I were to smell this one on someone, I would automatically assume that that person is very like confident, and they exude this like masculinity about them, you know. So yeah, let me give you as well a few layering suggestions. So if you are a woman and you would like to wear this fragrance, I have tried it with a few different fragrances. The first fragrance that I feel like it's a match made in heaven with this fragrance, but keep in mind both are heavy fragrances, is with Arabians Tonka. Now Arabians Tonka is a sugary, saffrony, oak mossy tonka bean fragrance. So because it also has that sugar feel, and in that fragrance, in Arabians Tonka, I feel like the sugariness is much more pronounced. That guys, that fragrance, first of all, it's one of my all-time favorite fragrances. Second of all, it's a sweet bomb. It's so sweet, so sugary, so yeah, it's amazing. But you also have the oak moss there. You also have oak moss and patchouli here, and a slight sugary nuance here. So if you pair those two, you could either use this one as a base and Arabian Tonka as the topper. But something that I would actually recommend you to do is to apply them on different parts of your body, because let me tell you guys, this fragrance on its own, it can feel overpowering already, you know. So if you were to put Arabian Tonka as a topper, yeah, unless you really love heavy fragrances, it might be too much, you know. But if you were to put this one, let's say, oh, and by the way, I forgot to say, please, less is more with this fragrance. This is not the kind of fragrance that you want to shower yourself with. Of course, if you want to keep things classy, in my opinion, like 5 sprays maximum, like maximum, you guys, because if you overdo it, especially let's just say if you do like 15 sprays and then you just go outside of your house, the oud there, if you overspray it, I'm telling you, it doesn't smell. Yeah, you don't want to smell like pickled cabbage, you know. But if you do, let's just say 5 to 6 sprays, you would do again 3 to 4 of Arabian Tonka. I'm telling you, you will have a nuclear scent, but that smells so luxurious and so royal. I'm telling you, it smells powerful. It smells powerful and mysterious and opulent. This is how this fragrance smells like to me, layered with Arabian Tonka. But in all honesty, if I were to wear this fragrance, I would do 1 or 2 sprays, and I would do more like 4 to 5 to 6 sprays of Arabian Tonka with 1 or 2 sprays of this one, because I would like this one to only amplify a little bit the oud accord that Arabian Tonka has. I wouldn't want this one to be the first thing you smell and then with a little bit of sweetness. But I feel like if you're a man, perhaps you might want to do it the other way around. If you don't want this one to go overly sweet, if you like the complexity of the oud used here, if you want the oud smell here to shine, do more sprays of this one, few sprays of Arabian Tonka, and you will just add again a little bit of sweetness. Now, something else. Speaking of sugary fragrances, if you're a woman, I would actually recommend you to layer this one with Roses Vanille from Mancera. Now again, don't apply them on top of one another, because to me they go in such opposite scent profiles that I don't think that they would mix well when you spray them, let's just say, on top of one another. But when you spray them on different parts of your body, again, you guys, what it will do, I feel like this one, like Bin Sheikh, if you layer it with Roses Vanille, let's just say you do 1 spray of Bin Sheikh, I don't know, like on your chest, under your clothes, or here on your wrist. And if you were to do, let's just say, 6 to 7 sprays of Roses Vanille in your hair, I don't know, maybe here on your chest as well, like on your clothes, Bin Sheikh, I feel like it will add just a little bit of depth to Roses Vanille, and it will amplify already the soft woody trace that Roses Vanille has, and it will give it this like Middle Eastern feel about it, you know, without the oud in Bin Sheikh overpowering the fragrance. Because I feel like if you're a woman, now look, I don't want to generalize, okay, because I know we all have our own taste and preferences when it comes to fragrances, but I'm telling you, if I were to wear this fragrance, I would want to use this one to give slight complexity, like bits of depth, bit of complexity to my other fragrances. I wouldn't want this fragrance to be the main thing that the main fragrance that you smell when you see me, you know, because I'm telling you how it is. I don't know, like when I smell this fragrance, like I picture this one on a man, honestly, on like a gentleman, on like a well-dressed, well-mannered gentleman, you know. Beautiful fragrance, oh my god. I love this fragrance. I love this fragrance. I honestly think it's a hidden gem for the price. By the way, I don't know, have I mentioned for how much I can find it locally? So here in Europe, I can find it for around 60 euros or 63 euros, something like this. Currently, it's out of stock, so yeah. But if you're curious, I will leave the website that sells it for this much. And I also think does it sell samples? I don't know. But I also think you can find samples of this fragrance, or you can request samples of the fragrances when you purchase them. So in case you don't enjoy the fragrance, you could just like send the full bottle back, and yeah. For the price, it's amazing, you guys. If you find the sample, if you find the decant, and if you love oud, please be aware you need to love the smell of oud. You need to be familiar with how oud smells like in Middle Eastern fragrances, but more, not even Cambodian style of oud. I feel like more like Hindi style of oud, you know? So yeah, but it's a beautiful fragrance. Of course, I will play with some other layering suggestions. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention another one. So the last layering suggestion that I wanted to give you, if you have this fragrance or if you want to explore some layering options with it, is to layer this one with Sharaf Oud from Swiss Arabian. Now, that one is an oud accord with praline and with a sweet rose and with something vanillic. So the overall fragrance feels very round, it feels very warm, it feels, I don't want to say that it feels creamy, but it feels full and round, you know. It doesn't feel like deep, dark, you know, or like very dry or anything like this. I feel like the sweetness envelops all the other notes, so it's very sweet with an oud-like feel with sweet red rose, you know. So again, these two would pair amazing, amazing, amazing together. Like if you want, let's just say you want a fragrance and you would like to, you want a fragrance that will amplify the oud-like nuances in other fragrances, I feel like this is the one. But again, please do not blind buy it. Don't blind buy it. As a reference, I find this one, for my taste, much more wearable than I find Mukhallat al-Shams from Ajmal as a reference. To me, I could and I would much rather wear this one, you know, than the other one, even though I enjoy how the other one smells like. But again, that is such a specific scent profile. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Have you tried this fragrance? If you have, I would love to hear your feedback on the fragrance. Let me know how it smells like to you. Do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it? How do you find the oud accord? What other fragrances from Ahmed al Maghribi do you enjoy? Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Don't forget you can follow me on Instagram. Here is my handle. I will see you in my next video, hopefully. But yes, thank you so much for watching, and I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye, guys.